There comes a point in every life when everything seems to stand still, when prayers feel unanswered, when doors appear closed, and when the waiting feels endless. But I tell you today, it is not the end. It is the turning point. Right now, unseen hands are moving for you. The same power that created worlds is rearranging circumstances, conversations, and people, all for your good. What looks like delay is divine design. What seems like rejection is protection. God is turning it all around for you. Do not measure your progress by what your eyes can see. The visible is only the echo of the invisible. Everything begins in the unseen, in your faith, in your inner knowing, in the quiet conviction that says, it's already done. When you declare within yourself, my time has come, you awaken the divine within you. The world outside has no choice but to reflect that truth. The moment you shift within, creation responds without. You are not waiting for your blessing. Your blessing has been waiting for you to believe. The power that governs this universe moves by belief, not by begging. When you feel it real, when you speak it as if it's already finished, the very fabric of reality bends to your conviction. God's timing is not random. It aligns perfectly with your readiness. So release the anxiety. Stop asking when, how, or who. These questions belong to the mind that doubts. The soul that trusts simply knows it is done. The obstacles you see now are being transformed into stepping stones. The closed doors are becoming open pathways. Your part is simple. Stay in faith. Walk, talk, and think as though everything has already shifted in your favor, because it has. The invisible world has already delivered what your heart has claimed. Now, let your actions align with your inner assurance. Yes, storms came, yes, nights were long, but dawn is breaking. The delay is over, the tide has turned. This is your moment, your season, your time. Say it with me. God is turning it all around for me. Every loss is making way for restoration. Every tear is watering the seed of new joy. Every challenge was training me for this moment. My good mentor, the philosopher Imut Jastava, said in his memo, "You are not behind, you are right on schedule. The divine has been preparing you, shaping you, and refining you for this very chapter. And now, what once felt impossible will become inevitable. Stand firm, believe boldly, receive freely, because your time has come. Come. What seems like chaos in your life right now is not chaos at all. It is divine order in motion. Every delay, every closed door, every sudden change that you didn't plan for is not working against you, it's working for you. The universe, or what many call divine intelligence, is not random. It moves with precision, weaving together events, people, and moments in perfect alignment with your highest destiny. You may not see the full picture yet, but the masterpiece is already being painted. What you perceive as confusion is only the brushstroke of creation, preparing your miracle. When life feels uncertain, remember, divine rearrangement is not punishment, it's preparation. Sometimes what you call a setback is simply a sacred setup. The things that fall apart are often the things that can no longer carry the vibration of who you are becoming. You prayed for growth, for increase, for transformation, but growth requires space. So the divine begins to rearrange, to shift, to remove, to replace. It may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, but this discomfort is the evidence that the old is giving way to the new. Think of it like a grand orchestra. Each instrument, each sound seems separate when heard alone, but when the conductor lifts the baton, everything comes together in perfect harmony. That conductor's divine intelligence, and your life is the music. Every delay, every detour, every unanswered prayer has its own rhythm. You might not understand the melody yet, but soon you'll hear how every note fits perfectly into your song. Divine rearrangement is not just happening around you, it's happening within you. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are being refined to match the frequency of your new reality. The inner shift must precede the outer one. If you were to receive everything you desire right now, before the inner foundation was ready, it would collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. So, the divine delays nothing, it only develops you. Every moment of waiting is a moment of alignment. When you feel resistance, don't fight it. Flow with it. Trust that what's leaving your life is no longer meant to stay, and what's entering is precisely what you need to rise higher. The divine never subtracts without adding, never closes without opening, never ends without beginning anew. The appearance of delay is often the sign that rearrangement is reaching its final stage. The universe is simply adjusting the final details before your blessing arrives. So breathe. Let go of control. What's meant for you cannot miss you. What's aligned with you will find you. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if it looks nothing like you expected. The same power that holds the stars in perfect orbit holds your destiny in divine order. Trust the process even when you can't trace the pattern. Soon you'll look back and realize that every delay, every detour, and every disappointment was simply divine rearrangement, the universe turning everything in your favor. Your inner world is the blueprint of your outer experience. Every thought, every belief, every feeling you consistently hold becomes a silent command to the universe. What you assume to be true, whether good or bad, begins to solidify into form. Life doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you believe you already have. The unseen powers of creation are not waiting for your words, they are activated by your inner conviction. The moment you feel that it's done, the machinery of reality begins to move in your favor. This is the great secret. Assumption precedes manifestation. Before anything appears in your world, it must first exist within you as a living reality of consciousness. You cannot experience what you have not yet accepted inwardly. When you assume something deeply enough, not as wishful thinking, but as an inner knowing, it impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is what shapes the external world. It reorganizes events, draws people to you, and shifts circumstances until your inner feeling is mirrored outwardly. Many people try to change their reality by force, through effort, struggle, and constant striving. But true transformation begins when you rest in the feeling that it is already accomplished. That feeling is the seed from which the harvest grows. The moment you claim within, it is done. The universe begins to orchestrate every detail to make it so. The forces that seem invisible are actually highly intelligent. They move with perfect accuracy according to the vibration of your belief. When you live in the state of your desire fulfilled, you become magnetized to everything that supports that state. The people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, even the timing of events begin to align as though guided by an unseen hand. It's not coincidence, it's consciousness. You have shifted from hoping to knowing, from waiting to receiving, from separation to unity with your desire. But the key lies in your feeling. You can repeat affirmations for hours, but if inside you still feel lack, fear, or doubt, then that is what will be reflected back to you. Feeling is the language of creation. The universe hears not your words, but your emotional vibration. So instead of pleading or wishing, become what you seek. Feel the joy of it already being true. Walk, think, and act from that end. This is not pretending, it's aligning. You are not lying to yourself, you are accepting the higher truth that creation is finished, and your assumption is simply calling the finished result into view. Everything that now exists was once only imagined and felt as real by someone who dared to believe. So start now. Assume the best about your life. Assume that everything is working out for you. Assume that your dream is already a fact. Feel it so deeply that the unseen has no choice but to reveal itself in the seen. Your inner assumption is the seed of destiny. Nurture it with unwavering faith and watch reality reshape itself around your belief. Faith is the bridge that connects what cannot yet be seen to what is destined to appear. It is the invisible thread that binds your inner vision to your outer experience. True faith is not a desperate hope that something might happen one day. It is the quiet, powerful knowing that it already has. Faith operates beyond the limits of logic and reason. It does not need to see proof to believe. It believes and therefore produces proof. Everything visible was first born in the realm of the invisible, and faith is the bridge that allows that unseen creation to cross into form. When you live in faith, you live in the awareness that your desire already exists. You stop asking when it will come and start giving thanks that it already has. This shift in consciousness is the key that opens the doors of manifestation. Hoping still carries the vibration of lack. It whispers, I don't yet have it. But faith stands firm and declares, it is done. That declaration transforms your inner world, and as your inner world changes, so must the outer. The world is simply a mirror, reflecting what you hold within. Faith is not passive, it is a creative force. It builds bridges between thought and thing, between dream and reality. When you walk in faith, you stop trying to control outcomes and instead align yourself with divine timing. You release anxiety and step into assurance. You begin to move, think, and speak from the end, from the fulfillment of your desire. This inner stance commands the invisible to rearrange itself until what was unseen becomes undeniable. Many confuse faith with waiting, but faith is not idle. Faith acts as though the promise is already kept. Faith celebrates before the evidence appears. It does not tremble when things look uncertain. It stands still and knows. Every moment of doubt weakens the bridge, but every moment of belief strengthens it. To have faith is to see with the eyes of spirit, to perceive beyond appearances, and to trust that the unseen is more real than the visible. There will be moments when your senses scream that nothing is changing. The world may show you delay or contradiction, but faith does not yield to appearances. Faith looks beyond the temporary and sees the eternal truth. The invisible power that created worlds has not abandoned you. It moves through you, waiting for your unwavering trust to complete its work. When you truly know that your desire is already yours, you begin to live from a state of completion. Gratitude replaces worry, peace replaces striving, and expectancy replaces fear. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them naturally because your vibration matches their reality. Faith is not about trying harder, it's about trusting deeper. The bridge is already built. All that's required is that you walk across it. Step boldly, not by sight, but by inner knowing. For the moment you believe without seeing, the unseen world begins to move, and soon the invisible becomes visible, exactly as your faith decreed. Your time has already been declared. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is not on its way. It is already here, unfolding in perfect divine timing. What you've prayed for, visualized, and believed is not some distant possibility. It is a present reality, waiting for your recognition. You are not waiting for the shift, you are stepping into it. The only thing separating you from its full expression is awareness. The divine has already said yes. Now it's your turn to agree with that yes. Every desire placed in your heart was not given to tease you, but to call you higher. It was planted there because it already exists for you in the invisible. The moment you desired it, the moment you believed it, creation responded. The universe began rearranging itself to match the new reality you claimed. You may not have seen the evidence yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't here. The shift has already occurred in the unseen, and your task is simply to align with it, to live as though it's already done. When you say, "My time is coming," you unconsciously push your manifestation further away. You place it in the future, always out of reach. But when you declare, "My time has come," something shifts within you. Your vibration rises to meet the frequency of fulfillment. You stop chasing and start receiving. The energy of arrival replaces the energy of waiting. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and see differently because your consciousness has accepted what is already yours. Everything in creation operates by divine timing, and divine timing is never late. You have not been forgotten or overlooked, you've been prepared. The waiting period wasn't wasted time, it was sacred alignment. The lessons, the delays, the detours, the moments of silence, all of it was shaping you into someone capable of holding the very blessing you asked for. The divine does not deliver promises to unprepared hands, but now the preparation is complete. The shift is active. The moment is now. You are stepping into the season that was written for you long ago. You don't need to force it, beg for it, or chase it. You only need to receive it. Feel the power of that truth. It has already happened. Every cell of your being should begin to resonate with that awareness. When you live from the knowing that your time has already been declared, fear loses its power, doubt dissolves, and peace takes its place. Move with confidence, not because you hope for favor, but because you walk in it. So lift your head. Stop questioning when things will change. They already are. What was once unseen is now materializing. Doors that seemed locked are opening. Paths that were hidden are appearing. The chapter you've been waiting to live has already been written and the page has turned. Step boldly, for your time has come and the universe is rising to meet you. There comes a moment in every journey when the wisest thing you can do is let go. You have prayed, visualized, affirmed, and acted. Now it is time to release control. Control is the language of fear. It believes that without constant effort and worry, things will fall apart. Alignment, however, is the language of faith. It knows that when you surrender the need to manage every detail, divine order takes over and moves with precision far beyond human understanding. The moment you stop trying to force outcomes, the unseen intelligence that governs all creation can finally do its perfect work. We are in the process of creation as much as it. So much of human suffering comes from the need to control what cannot be controlled: timing, people, circumstances, and outcomes. When things don't unfold the way we expect, we tighten our grip, thinking that more effort will fix what only trust can complete. But true creation does not happen through strain, it happens through surrender. It's not about doing more, it's about allowing more. The energy of forcing carries resistance, and resistance delays manifestation. When you relax into trust, you open the flow that was always meant to guide you. To release control is not to give up, it is to give over, to hand your worries to a power infinitely wiser than your own understanding. It is the act of stepping out of the way so that what is meant for you can find you without obstruction. Divine timing cannot be rushed, and divine order cannot be manipulated. What is for you will not require anxiety, exhaustion, or struggle. It will arrive in perfect sequence when you are internally aligned with it. And so it's important not to take future actions when you are internally aligned with it. Alignment means harmony between your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. It means your inner state matches what you desire to experience outwardly. When your heart trusts but your mind doubts, you send mixed signals to the universe. But when you release control, you unify your energy. You send one clear message: I am ready, I am open, and I trust the process. That surrender becomes magnetic. Everything that belongs to you begins to move toward you with effortless grace. Look at nature. The rivers do not rush, yet they reach the ocean. The trees do not force themselves to grow, they simply align with the seasons. Creation flows through surrender, not struggle. Likewise, when you stop fighting against what is and begin to accept what is unfolding, you align yourself with the rhythm of divine order. The very thing you are chasing begins to chase you. The art of surrender is the highest expression of trust. It is saying, I know that what's meant for me cannot miss me. I trust that even what I cannot see is being perfectly arranged. And in that space of faith, miracles begin to unfold quietly but powerfully. Doors open without effort, people appear without planning, and opportunities arise from nowhere. When you release control, you create space for divine intelligence to work miracles. Let go of the need to know how or when. Relax into the truth that all is well and all is unfolding perfectly. In your stillness, divine order speaks, and when it does, everything begins to move beautifully in your favor. To live in the end is to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire before it becomes visible. It means to speak, walk, and think as though everything you've asked for has already come to pass. This is not pretending, it is aligning. You are no longer waiting for your dream to happen, you are living from it. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe responds. It begins to reorganize itself to reflect your new inner reality. The end is the beginning, and when you dwell in that end, the floodgates of destiny open wide. Most people live in the waiting room of life. They hope, they wish, they pray, but they do so from the standpoint of not yet. They talk about their desires as something coming one day. But that mindset keeps the dream in the future, always approaching, never arriving. Living in the end pulls that future into the now. When you walk as if it's already done, your vibration changes. You no longer send out the energy of longing, you emit the energy of possession. And life mirrors that energy back to you. Living in the end doesn't mean ignoring current reality. It means refusing to let it dictate what's possible. You may not see the evidence yet, but you hold the vision so firmly within that it becomes more real than what your senses perceive. You begin to talk differently, not as someone hoping for a breakthrough, but as someone who has already experienced it. You walk with confidence, you think from abundance, you respond from peace. This inner transformation precedes the outer one. Everything in creation responds to the state you occupy. If you live in the state of lack, you continue to attract situations that confirm it. But if you live in the state of fulfillment, everything begins to rearrange to match that feeling. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People show up at the right time. Circumstances shift in ways you could never have planned. It's not magic, it's divine law. You become one with the outcome you've claimed. The secret is consistency. You cannot live in the end for 5 minutes and then return to doubt for 5 hours. The mind must be disciplined to stay in the feeling of completion, even when the world around you hasn't caught up yet. Remember, the world is a mirror. It reflects your dominant state, not your occasional thought. So hold firm to the inner knowing that it's already done. Feel it until it feels natural, until it feels inevitable. When you live in the end, peace replaces striving. You stop chasing signs and start embodying certainty. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Because you know that it already has. In consciousness first, and soon in form. Living in the end is living from the truth that creation is finished. Everything you could ever desire already exists in potential, waiting for you to claim it by faith. So walk like it's done, speak like it's done, and think like it's done. That's when destiny opens and the unseen becomes seen. Everything that is happening in your life right now is not random. It is purposeful. The divine has heard every prayer, felt every longing, and seen every tear. What once felt delayed is now unfolding in divine perfection. You are stepping into the season that was always meant for you. The rearrangement, the faith, the surrender, and the alignment were never just lessons. They were the foundation of your transformation. Now is the moment to walk in complete confidence that God is turning it all around for you. You no longer need to chase what is already yours. The unseen has become seen. The promise has become presence. All that's left is for you to receive it, to live, speak, and move from the knowing that your time has truly come. So release the past, embrace the present, and expect the extraordinary. The same divine power that began this work within you will finish it in glory. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and declare with certainty, my time has come. Everything is turning in my favor. Thank you for sharing this moment of faith and awakening. May these words remind you that the divine never forgets its promises, and that the best chapters of your life are not ahead. They are now. There is a power moving through you, unseen yet certain, waiting only for your recognition. To trust the universe is not to beg, nor to anxiously seek signs, but to rest in the quiet, knowing that all things are unfolding according to your inner state of being. When you imagine with feeling, you plant a seed in the unseen. Just as no farmer pulls at the soil to hurry the harvest, you too must allow time, space, and silence for the universe to bring forth your desire. Relaxation is not laziness, it is the highest form of confidence. It is the calm assurance that what you have already claimed within will soon reveal itself without. Do not look to circumstances for proof, for they only mirror the past state of mind. Instead, live from the end. Close your eyes and enter into the reality of your fulfilled desire. Feel it real. Walk in it inwardly, as though it is already yours, and the outer world will bend to match it. Fear, doubt, and restlessness belong to those who believe the outer world holds the power. But when you understand that all things come from within, you no longer struggle with appearances. You can look at conditions that seem unchanged and smile, for you know the unseen is already shaping them into form. Trusting the universe is like floating on water. The moment you stop struggling, you are carried effortlessly. The moment you stop interfering with worry and control, your life begins to flow. Your only duty is to accept within yourself the truth of your desire. The rest is not your work. So relax, be still, rest in faith. Know that what you have inwardly accepted must outwardly appear. The universe is not against you, it is within you, working faithfully to reflect your every assumption. And when you trust this truth, peace becomes natural, and life unfolds as it should, perfectly, inevitably, and beautifully. Imagination is not a fleeting daydream or a mere play of the mind. It is the very foundation upon which reality is built. Everything you see around you, every object, every invention, every work of art, began first as a vision in someone's imagination. What you hold within, whether through images, feelings, or inner conversations, is the seed of the world you will experience. To understand this truth is to unlock the secret of creation itself. When you imagine something vividly and clothe it with feeling, you are impressing it upon the deeper levels of your being. This impression is like a seed planted in fertile soil. The soil does not question the seed, nor does it resist. It simply brings forth after its kind. Likewise, the creative power within you does not ask whether your thought is small or great, possible or impossible. It simply responds to what you impress upon it. This is why imagination is the key to shaping your destiny. Relaxation plays a vital role in this process. When you are tense, anxious, or restless, your energy is scattered. You try to control circumstances, force outcomes, and wrestle with appearances. But this very struggle is a sign that you do not yet trust the unseen power that is already at work. To relax is to surrender, not in weakness, but in supreme confidence. It is knowing that once you have imagined and accepted something within, its outer expression is inevitable. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He does not sit by the field anxiously wondering if the soil will do its job. He does not dig up the seed every day to see if it has sprouted. Instead, he plants with faith and rests in certainty because he understands the laws of nature. Your imagination works in the same way. Once you impress the seed of desire upon your inner world, your task is to rest, to allow, to trust. When you close your eyes and imagine, Do not see it as a distant hope. Feel it as though it were already real. Live from the end in your imagination. Walk in the scene. Breathe its air and feel the joy of fulfillment. The more vivid and natural this becomes, the stronger the seed is planted. And just as surely as morning follows night, that inner vision must one day appear in the outer world. The reason many fail is not because the law does not work, but because they abandon the process too soon. They allow doubt, fear, and impatience to uproot the seed. They look for quick signs in the outer world instead of resting in faith. True mastery comes when you realize that the unseen is more real than what the senses show. What you accept inwardly with conviction will eventually harden into fact. Imagination creates reality, and relaxation is the proof of your faith in this principle. When you can rest in the certainty of your inner vision, you align yourself with the creative power that governs all things. You no longer struggle against life because you know life is only reflecting what you have already planted within. This quiet trust, this surrender, is the doorway to manifestation. It is the art of allowing the unseen to become seen and the invisible to take form before your very eyes. To live from the end is to enter into the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell there as if it were already your present reality. It is not about hoping, waiting, or begging for a future outcome, but about assuming now that the desire is already accomplished. This principle is not about pretending or forcing the mind to believe something against its will. It is about shifting your inner position, your sense of being, to one that is aligned with fulfillment. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you stop striving anxiously because there is nothing left to strive for. The end is already secured within you. Most people live from a state of lack. They desire something, but they continue to see themselves as the one who does not yet have it. They pray from the problem instead of the solution, imagining the gap rather than the completion. To live from the end requires a radical shift, to claim inwardly what you seek outwardly, and to rest in the certainty that life must mirror this state. It is not your outer circumstances that create your inner condition, but your inner condition that shapes your outer circumstances. Consider how you feel when something is truly done in your life. Think of a time when you accomplished a goal, received good news, or crossed a milestone. There was no anxiety, no restless striving. You simply felt the relief and satisfaction of completion. To live from the end is to generate that same feeling now before the evidence arrives. It is a deliberate choice to embody the mood of fulfillment, knowing that what is real within will soon become real without. This is why relaxation and living from the end are deeply connected. An anxious mind is always looking to the future, wondering when or how. But when you step into the end, those questions dissolve. You know the harvest is certain. You walk with calm assurance, because within yourself you have already claimed it. The outer world may still reflect delay or contradiction, but you no longer react with fear. Instead, you rest, because you know appearances are temporary shadows that must give way to the reality you hold within. Living from the end does not mean forcing yourself to deny what your senses show. It means acknowledging that the senses reveal only a past state, not the living truth of your being. If you are broke and desire wealth, the senses will show lack. But living from the end means you assume the inner wealth, the feeling of abundance, until it becomes natural. If you long for love, the senses may show loneliness, but living from the end means you assume yourself already cherished, already chosen, already fulfilled. The world cannot resist such inner certainty. It must eventually rearrange itself to match the state you persist in. The art of life is to train yourself to return again and again to the end, until it feels more real than the present circumstances. Once you can hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled without strain, you have aligned yourself with the creative law. Relaxation follows naturally, for there is nothing left to chase. You know it is done. The unseen has already accepted your assumption, and the outer world is on its way to reflect it. To live from the end is to claim your power, rest in it, and allow life to reveal what you have already accepted within. The world around you is filled with noise, opinions, doubts, fears, statistics, and appearances that constantly try to convince you of what is possible and what is not. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with voices that tell you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept limitations. This outer noise becomes so loud that you begin to mistake it for truth. But the truth is never found in the clamor of the world. It is discovered only in the silence within. To create deliberately, you must learn to withdraw from the noise of doubt and fear and listen instead to the quiet conviction of your own inner voice. Every time you look at circumstances and allow them to dictate your mood, you are giving power to the outer noise. When the world says it cannot be done, you feel discouraged. When appearances show lack or delay, you begin to wonder if your desire will ever manifest. But all of this is illusion. The outer world is nothing more than the echo of your past inner states. To allow it to control you is like looking in a mirror and expecting the reflection to change before you do. The mirror can only follow, it can never lead. Silencing the outer noise is an act of inner mastery. It is not about shutting your ears to the world physically, but about training yourself to no longer give authority to fear or doubt. It is about remembering that the true creative power lies within you, not outside. When you retreat inward and claim your desire as already real, you are standing in the place of creation itself. The conviction you feel in those quiet moments is stronger than 1,000 voices of contradiction. Consider how a seed grows in the darkness of the soil. It does not require the world's approval to sprout, it simply follows the law of life. Your imagination works the same way. Once you have planted your desire within and clothed it with feeling, it is already set in motion. The noise of the world may say otherwise, appearances may scream delay or impossibility, but if you can silence those outer voices and return again to the inner conviction, you will see the harvest in due time. True power comes from this inner stillness. It is not loud, not desperate, not anxious. It is calm, steady, and unshakable. When you know something within, no argument from without can move you. The doubters may laugh, circumstances may contradict, but you will stand firm because you have seen and felt the reality inwardly. This is the kind of faith that moves mountains, not by fighting the mountain, but by knowing within that it is already removed. The outer noise will never cease entirely. The world will always have something to say, but your task is not to silence the world, it is to silence its effect on you. When you choose the inner conviction over the outer appearance, you have chosen the only truth that matters. And in time, the noise will fade, and the world itself will adjust to reflect the quiet certainty you held within. In that stillness, you discover freedom. You realize that nothing outside of you has the power to shape your destiny. Only your inner conviction does. And when you remain faithful to it, the outer world has no choice but to obey. Faith is not a matter of struggle, effort, or constant pleading. It is not about trying to convince yourself through endless repetition or anxious striving. Faith in its purest form is rest. It is the quiet confidence that what you have inwardly accepted as true must inevitably show itself outwardly. To trust the universe is not to labor, but to relax into the assurance that all is already accomplished. The moment you truly believe, the strain ends, because you no longer feel the need to chase. You simply know. When a person lacks faith, their life becomes a cycle of chasing after outcomes, worrying about results, and attempting to control every detail of the path. They think their willpower or effort alone will bring their desire to pass, so they exhaust themselves trying to manipulate circumstances. But true faith requires no such strain. It is not about controlling the outer world. It is about accepting the inner reality. Once that acceptance is complete, rest follows naturally. Think of a traveler boarding a train. Once seated, he does not sit anxiously wondering if the train will reach its destination. He does not run alongside the track or attempt to push the carriage forward. He rests because he knows the train is already carrying him where he intends to go. Faith operates in the same way. Once you have assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, you need not force or chase. The unseen power is already moving all things to bring your desire to fruition. Your task is only to remain calm, steady, and inwardly certain. Faith is rest because it shifts your sense of time. Without faith, you are always waiting for the future, hoping one day it will arrive. With faith, you live in the now, because within yourself it is already done. You stop asking when because you already feel now. You stop asking how because you know the how is not your concern. The outer world simply arranges itself according to the state you have accepted. The Vatex ceremony. You should choose to accept. This is why faith brings peace. It silences the restless mind that constantly questions and doubts. It ends the endless search for signs and assurances. Once you truly believe, you no longer need proof from the senses, because the inner conviction is stronger than appearances. Even if circumstances seem unchanged, faith allows you to rest in the knowledge that the change is already unfolding beneath the surface, like a seed sprouting before it breaks through the soil. The most powerful creations arise, not from frantic effort, but from quiet certainty. To be still, to rest in faith, is not weakness, it is the highest strength. It shows that you trust the laws of the universe so completely that you no longer need to interfere. You can live joyfully, peacefully, and freely because you know your desire is already secured. Faith is not something you do, it is something you become. It is a state of being, a calm assurance that allows you to move through life with grace, knowing that what you have accepted inwardly is as good as done. One of the greatest burdens people carry is the need to control how their desires will unfold. They imagine what they want, yet immediately the mind begins asking, how will this happen? Who will make it possible? When will it arrive? What if it doesn't work? This constant questioning creates tension, doubt, and resistance. But the truth is simple. The how is never your concern. Your only responsibility is to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. and to rest in that assumption. The universe has ways and channels far beyond your comprehension. When you insist on controlling the method, you limit what could have been infinite. Consider the seed once more. When planted in soil, the farmer does not worry about how the roots will form or how the plant will break through the earth. He does not stand over the ground day and night commanding the process to happen. He simply knows that growth is inevitable and allows nature to do its work. In the same way, once you impress your desire upon the inner world with conviction, the creative power already knows how to bring it forth. It draws circumstances, people, and events together in a harmony you could never design by effort alone. Letting go of control is not passivity, it is trust. It means you no longer interfere with doubt or desperation. You are not sitting idly by, but you are holding firm to the assumption that what you desire is already accomplished. This inner position is the only control you truly have, and it is more than enough. When you live in the state of fulfillment, the outer world must reflect it, for it has no choice but to mirror your inner condition. Those who obsess over the how often sabotage themselves. They imagine one specific path and cling so tightly that they miss the greater possibilities unfolding around them. Life may have been preparing a more direct or more beautiful way, but their fixation blinds them. The universe does not require your strategies, it only responds to your state. Your task is not to engineer the details, but to remain faithful to the vision within. Letting go also brings peace. The restless mind constantly demands proof, constantly tries to figure things out. But when you understand that the outer world is simply the shadow of the inner, you no longer struggle with appearances. You rest, knowing that once a seed is planted in consciousness, it is already complete. You do not need to demand or force. You simply need to trust, to remain inwardly aligned with the fulfillment you have chosen. The greatest manifestations often arrive in ways you least expect. What looks like chance, coincidence, or even an obstacle may be the very path through which your desire is delivered. When you let go of control, you allow this infinite intelligence to operate freely. You step back and let the current of life carry you to where you are meant to be. So release the need to control the how, the when, and the path. Assume the end, rest in it, and let life rearrange itself. The moment you let go, you make space for the universe to do its perfect work. And when it arrives, you will realize it could never have been planned better than it was. Everything you see in the physical world today was once invisible. Every invention, every creation, every circumstance began first as a thought, a vision, or a feeling that existed only in the unseen. The chair you sit on, the building you live in, the technology you hold, all of it was first imagined before it became tangible. This is the eternal law. The invisible precedes the visible. Nothing appears in the outer world unless it is first born in the inner world. To grasp this truth is to find peace, because you no longer look to appearances for reassurance. You understand that the real work is already complete the moment you have imagined and accepted it within. When you create inwardly, you are dealing with the cause, not the effect. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of what has already been conceived in the unseen. To try to manipulate the shadow is useless. The shadow has no life of its own. It only mirrors the object that casts it. In the same way, the circumstances you face are only the reflection of prior inner states. If you wish to change them, you must first change the invisible pattern within yourself. Relaxation comes when you accept this principle fully. Instead of worrying about how things will happen, you rest in the knowing that they already have happened inwardly. You have planted the seed in the soil of consciousness, and that seed carries within it the pattern of fulfillment. The seed does not need your constant interference. It needs only your trust. Just as a farmer understands that growth begins in darkness before it breaks into light, so too must you understand that the invisible work is done long before you see its evidence. This understanding allows you to stop fighting appearances. The senses may show lack, delay, or contradiction, but you know these are only old states still fading away. They cannot prevent the new seed from sprouting. The moment you imagine with feeling and accept it as real, the process is set in motion. Nothing can stop it but your own disbelief. And even then, the power is not gone. It simply waits for your acceptance once again. Think of how night always precedes morning. In the deepest darkness, the dawn is already certain. So it is with your desires. The outer world may appear silent, motionless, unchanged, but beneath the surface, the invisible is working tirelessly. To relax in this truth is to live with quiet confidence. You no longer demand proof, because you know the proof is inevitable. You no longer beg for signs because you know the manifestation is unfolding according to its perfect timing. The invisible is always greater than the visible. What you hold in imagination has more power than what you see with your eyes, because the unseen is the source and the seen is only the result. To live from this awareness is to walk in faith, to rest in certainty, and to know that your inner acceptance guarantees your outer manifestation. Once you have imagined and truly felt it, the outcome is no longer in question. It is inevitable. The invisible precedes the visible, and the unseen is already shaping itself into form on your behalf. The great secret of life is simple. All that you desire already exists within you. Imagination plants the seed, faith allows it to rest, silence protects it, and trust gives it room to grow. When you live from the end and let go of control, you understand that the invisible always precedes the visible. There is nothing to fear, nothing to chase, and nothing to force. The universe is not against you, it is within you, faithfully mirroring every inner state you choose to accept. So relax. Rest in the assurance that what you have inwardly claimed is already done. Let peace replace striving. Let conviction replace doubt. And let your inner vision guide the unfolding of your outer life. The harvest is certain, for creation is finished the moment you accept it within yourself. Thank you for listening. And may you carry this truth into every moment of your life with calmness, trust, and quiet confidence. Beloved, let me tell you this mystery. The future is not something waiting for you at the end of time. It is calling you now. The person you are destined to be is not distant, not unreachable, but present, waiting for you to awaken to its voice. The whispers you often ignore, the desires that burn quietly in your heart, are not accidents. They are messages. They are the letters written by the hand of your future self, sealed in the envelope of longing and delivered through the language of imagination. When you close your eyes and dare to see yourself as greater, freer, richer in spirit, you are not daydreaming, you are receiving a prophecy. That vision is not make-believe. It is a glimpse of the self you already are in another realm of existence. The question is, will you listen? For your future self does not speak in words but in feelings, the sense of certainty, the quiet joy of imagining the wish fulfilled. That is the voice of destiny speaking. Do not wait for signs outside, for the sign is within. The echo you hear in your chest when you imagine boldly, that is the future calling. And when you answer, not tomorrow, not later, but now, the line is made clear. Your task is not to create the future, but to embody the message it sends you. Walk as if the letter has been received. Speak as if the promise is already yours. Act as though the future has bent down and placed its crown upon your head. For truly it has. The future you are destined to become is already alive, and the messages it sends are waiting for your recognition. The moment you believe, the message is no longer from the future, it becomes the present. The future exists now. It is not a distant event that you are running toward, nor is it a treasure hidden in the dust of tomorrow. It is alive in this very moment, waiting for you to awaken to its presence. The life you long for, the dream you cherish, the state of being you crave is already unfolding in a higher dimension of consciousness. What you call the future is simply an unseen layer of reality existing here and now, awaiting your recognition. When you understand this, you no longer live as one who waits, but as one who receives. The seed of the oak is not the oak in potential, it is the oak in essence. Likewise, the vision you hold of yourself is not merely a possibility, it is a reality already established in the invisible. It is unfolding, perfect and complete, beyond the veil of your present awareness. The work is not to create it, but to align with it, to step into its rhythm, to embody its truth as if it were already yours. Many spend their lives postponing happiness, saying, "One day I will be free. One day I will be abundant. One day I will walk in purpose." But one day is not a place. It is an illusion. The only doorway to transformation is now. The life you desire is not waiting for years to pass or conditions to be met. It is waiting for you to accept that it already is. The universe does not operate by time as you know it. It operates by state. You do not move into the future by days, but by consciousness. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the person you long to be. Feel the certainty of that life, the peace, the joy, the accomplishment, the freedom. As you enter that feeling, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the dimension where that life is real. That alignment is the bridge. It is the key that unlocks the unseen and draws it into your visible world. The shift is not in time, it is in awareness. Consider a radio. 100 frequencies exist in the same space, yet you only hear the one you are tuned to. Your future is no different. The life you desire is already broadcasting its song, but you must tune yourself to its frequency. How? By thought, by feeling, by imagination. By refusing to dwell in lack and choosing instead to dwell in fulfillment. Every moment you feel yourself in the state of your desired life, you are harmonizing with that dimension. And as surely as a seed planted in soil must sprout, your aligned state must express itself in the world around you. Do not measure your progress by outer appearances. The oak does not appear the moment the seed is planted, but already within the unseen the tree exists. So it is with your life. The invisible precedes the visible. and the future precedes the present. What you choose to believe now is the reality you will inevitably behold. Therefore, walk as though it is done, speak as though it is true, feel as though you already stand in the life you desire. The future exists now, and the moment you align with it, you step into its unfolding. Imagination is the bridge between who you are now and who you are destined to become. It is not idle play, nor empty fancy, but the sacred doorway through which your future self speaks to you. Every image that rises in the stillness of your mind, every scene that stirs your heart, is not mere invention. It is communication. It is the language of destiny, written in symbols and feelings, guiding you into alignment with the life that already awaits you. So often we are taught to treat imagination as childish, as if it were a toy to be discarded once we grow older. Yet imagination is the most powerful faculty of the human spirit. It is the eye that sees what the physical eye cannot. It is the bridge across time, where the unseen meets the seen. When you sit in silence and envision yourself living fully, walking boldly, thriving abundantly, you are not daydreaming. You are receiving a message from the dimension of your fulfilled self. That vision is real, it exists already, and your imagination is the thread that connects you to it. Think of how your heart responds when you dwell on such images. Notice how your body changes, how your breath deepens, how your spirit lifts. This is not fantasy, it is resonance. Your future self is pulling you, whispering, "This is who you are. This is where you belong." And the more you allow yourself to feel it, the stronger the bridge becomes. What you accept inwardly with conviction must eventually manifest outwardly. The world outside is only the echo of the world you have already built within. Imagination is not a tool for escape, but for creation. To escape is to run from what is, but to imagine is to transform what is by aligning with what is greater. When you picture yourself free, you are rehearsing freedom. When you imagine abundance, you are embodying wealth. When you envision love, you are cultivating the vibration that draws it into form. The unseen and the seen are not separate. They are one. Imagination is the bridge that allows what is hidden to be revealed. Consider the architect who designs a building. Before the stone is laid, the plan exists in imagination. Before the painter's brush touches the canvas, the image is alive within. In the same way, before your destiny appears in time, it is complete in the silence of your mind. To dismiss your imagination is to deny the blueprint of your own future. To embrace it is to walk across the bridge into the life already prepared for you. But the key is to dwell. A fleeting thought is a shadow, but a sustained image is a seed. What you dwell on in silence grows roots in the unseen and bears fruit in the seen. Do not think lightly of the moments you spend imagining. They are the sacred meetings where you commune with your future self. Each image you nurture in faith is a step across the bridge, a step into the reality that already exists. So guard your imagination. Do not use it to rehearse fear or replay failure. Use it to see beyond appearances, to anchor yourself in the greater truth of who you are becoming. For imagination is not fantasy, it is prophecy. It is the bridge that carries you from longing into fulfillment, from shadow into light, from what you are. To feel it as done is the great key. The secret is not to wait for signs, nor to look for proof in the outer world, but to take the end you desire and embody it now. The mind wants to postpone, to say, "One day I will be there, one day it will happen," but the spirit knows no delay. It moves not by time, but by feeling. The moment you feel the reality of your fulfilled life, you are joined to it. You are no longer reaching, you are receiving. Consider this truth. The world is but a mirror. It reflects back to you the inner state you carry. If you hold yourself in longing, the mirror shows you distance. If you hold yourself in fulfillment, the mirror shows you evidence. The outer life cannot resist the inner life you have claimed as real. Feeling is the magnet, and it draws into form what you already sense as true. When you imagine, do not stop at the picture, enter into it. Let it become alive, let it breathe in you. If you desire freedom, feel the weight lifted, the breath easy, the steps unchained. If you desire abundance, feel the relief of supply, the joy of overflow, the confidence of security. If you desire love, feel the warmth, the belonging, the certainty that you are cherished. Do not wait for these things to arrive from outside. Claim them within, and they must reveal themselves without. The error most people make is waiting for permission from circumstances. They believe they will feel joy once success appears, or peace once the problem resolves. But life bends in the opposite direction. Success appears once you feel joy. The problem resolves once you feel peace. You are not a victim of what is seen, you are the cause of what becomes seen. And the cause is feeling. Feeling it as done is not pretending, it is stepping into a higher law. Pretending is weak, it knows it is false. Feeling is faith, it knows it is real. Faith does not ask how or when. It rests in the certainty of already. This resting is the proof of trust. When you no longer chase, no longer grasp, no longer wonder if it will be, you are standing in the state of already fulfilled. And in that state, guidance flows. Intuition rises. Doors open. You do not force the path. The path reveals itself. Think of the actor who takes on a role. He does not wait for the states to transform before he embodies the character. He becomes it first, and the stage follows. So it is with life. Your outer world is the stage that conforms to the role you inwardly play. If you wish for change, you must step into the feeling of the new role now. The script is written in your emotion. Therefore, begin this moment. Do not say, I will feel it tomorrow. Choose the end you desire and clothe yourself in its reality. Walk as though it is finished. Rest as though it is complete. Let the feeling of fulfillment be your constant dwelling, for when you feel it as done, the unseen world bows, and the seen world follows. Every true desire is not a random spark, nor an empty craving. It is a whisper from your future self. It is the voice of who you already are in another dimension, calling you to rise, to expand, to embody the fullness of your being. When you feel the pull of a deep desire, understand that it is not something you are trying to become. It is something you already are, urging you to recognize it here and now. Desire is often misunderstood. Many are taught to suppress it, to treat it as weakness, to mistrust the longing within. But desire is holy. It is the current that connects you to the greater version of yourself. It is the conversation between the visible and the invisible, between the present self and the future self. To silence desire is to silence guidance. To honor desire is to walk the path of destiny. Notice the difference between fleeting wants and true desires. A want may arise from comparison, from fear, from the grasping of the ego, but a true desire carries weight, depth, and persistence. It does not leave you. It stirs your heart in quiet moments. It returns to you when you think you have let it go. This kind of desire is not placed in you by accident. It is a message, a seed, a reminder that the life you long for already exists. The desire itself is proof. When you long for freedom, it is because freedom is your essence. When you yearn for love, it is because love is your nature. When you hunger for abundance, it is because abundance is already your inheritance. Desire is the echo of the future calling into the present, saying, "Come closer. Step into what you already are." The mistake is to think desire means lack. It does not. Desire means alignment is calling. It is not showing you what you are missing, but what you are meant to claim. It is not a gap to be filled, but a bridge to be crossed. If you treat desire as absence, you chain yourself to longing. If you treat desire as guidance, you walk straight into fulfillment. Full men, do not ignore your desires, for they are the map. They show you the direction of your unfolding. Every step you take toward them is a step toward your truest self. But the step is not always outer. It begins inwardly. To honor desire, you must first accept it as real. Allow yourself to feel its reality. Embrace the joy of its fulfillment. Know that the moment the desire was born within you, the path to its realization was born also. Think of desire as a seed planted by your future self. The moment you feel it, the seed is alive. You do not need to force it into being. You need only nurture it, water it with faith. Dwell in the certainty that it already belongs to you. In time, it must break through into form. So listen carefully to your desires. They are not distractions, they are directions. They are not weaknesses, they are revelations. Each true desire is your future self reaching back, urging you to become what you already are. And when you honor that voice, you will see that the life you dreamed of was never ahead of you. It was within you, calling all along. Silence is the portal through which the unseen speaks. In the stillness of mind, when the noise of worry and doubt fades, the voice of your future self can be heard. It does not shout, it does not demand. It whispers with clarity, guiding you with the certainty of one who already knows the path. The question is never whether guidance exists, but whether you are quiet enough to receive it. Life is full of noise. The mind is often crowded with questions, fears, and endless analysis. We chase answers from the world outside, hoping someone else will reveal the way. Yet the deepest answers are not found in the clamor of voices, but in the silence of the heart. When you dare to be still, when you rest the mind and release the strain, something higher begins to move. You realize the guidance you were searching for has been within you all along. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the space where the eternal speaks. The future you, already wise, already whole, already complete, communicates through the language of intuition, hunches, sudden clarity, gentle nudges of feeling. These impressions rise only when the waters of the mind are calm. If the surface is disturbed, the reflection cannot be seen. But in silence, the reflection of your greater self becomes clear. Think of a radio again. Countless frequencies fill the air, but unless you tune in, you cannot hear them. Silence is the tuning dial. It aligns you with the frequency of your higher self, the self that already knows the end from the beginning. The guidance you seek is not far away. It is waiting on the other side of stillness, but silence requires trust. The restless mind wants to act, to analyze, to force solutions. Yet the more you struggle, the more tangled you become. Guidance does not come through force, it comes through surrender. In silence, you let go of the need to control, and in that letting go, the path unfolds. You do not need to figure everything out, you need to listen. And listening is only possible when you are still. Make time to enter this sacred silence. Close your eyes, release the tension of the day, and let your thoughts settle. In that quiet space, imagine yourself already living the life you desire. Let the feeling of fulfillment rise gently within you. Do not push, do not grasp, simply allow. In that allowing, messages will come. A sense of peace about a decision, a sudden vision of what step to take, an inner certainty that needs no explanation. This is the voice of your future self, guiding you from beyond time. Understand this, silence is not passive. It is the most powerful action you can take. In silence, you realign with your true nature. In silence, you open the door for wisdom to flow. In silence, you step into communion with the self that has already arrived. So treasure silence. Do not fear it. Do not rush from it. Enter it as you would enter a sacred temple, for in that stillness you will find the portal, and through that portal you will hear the guidance that never fails. The voice of your future self is waiting, not in the chaos, but in the silence. To live the message now is the final step, the great act of faith that turns the unseen into the seen. Your future does not wait for years to pass. It waits for you to embody it in this very moment. The guidance you have received through desire, imagination, and silence is not meant to remain in thought alone. It is meant to be lived. To connect with your future, you must act, think, and feel as though the message has already manifested. Too often people hold their vision at arm's length. They treat it as a hope, something to admire from afar, but not something to wear in the present. They say, "One day I will live that way," when the evidence appears. But the truth is reversed. Evidence does not appear until you live as though it already has. Life mirrors what you embody. The moment you begin to carry yourself as though the promise is fulfilled, the world bends to confirm it. This does not mean pretending. Pretending knows it is false. Living the message means identifying yourself with the reality of your desire so deeply that you no longer question it. If the future has already spoken, why delay? If the message has already been sent, why wait to open it? Walk in the confidence that it is done, and every step you take will carve the path for its unfolding. Think of a person rehearsing for a role. Before the curtain rises, they speak, move, and breathe as the character. By the time they stand before the audience, they are no longer acting, they are simply being. So it is with your life. If you want freedom, walk in freedom's posture now. If you want abundance, let your choices reflect the wisdom of one who already has enough. If you want love, radiate the openness of one who is already cherished. The role must be lived before the stage can transform. Every action you take, no matter how small, carries power when it is rooted in the assumption that the message is already real. The way you speak about yourself, the way you treat others, the way you carry your inner state, these are all declarations to the universe. They announce, "This is who I am, this is my reality." and reality cannot help but respond. Living the message also requires consistency. A seed planted once does not bear fruit overnight. It must be nurtured daily. So hold fast to the feeling of fulfillment. Return to it again and again until it becomes your natural dwelling. Do not be swayed by appearances that seem to contradict it. The outer world is always slower to change than the inner. But the change is certain if you persist in living as though it is already here. So begin now. Act as though the letter from your future self has been received and read. Think as though the promise has already unfolded. Feel as though the crown has already been placed upon your head. When you live the message now, you collapse the distance between what is unseen and what is seen. The future is no longer ahead of you, it is within you, expressed through every thought, every word, every step. And in that living, the message is fulfilled. Hmm. 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 So the voice of your future self has been speaking all along, through desire, through imagination, through the silence, through the feelings you dare to embrace. It has been whispering, not of something far away, but of something already here, waiting for your recognition. The life you long for is not coming from the outside, it is unfolding from within you. Every vision you honor, every feeling you sustain, every step you live as though it is already done, these are the bridges that collapse time and reveal destiny in the now. Do not wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is only the echo of today. Live the message now. Speak it, feel it, breathe it, and the future you will not only meet, you will embody. For the greatest truth is this: you are already the one you seek to become. Thanks. Thank you for walking this journey with me. May you hear the whispers of your future self and have the courage to live them now. If this message touched you, share it with others who are ready to awaken to their destiny. Your support means everything. Stay inspired, stay awakened, and remember, the future exists in you right now. Thank you. There are moments in life when everything seems to stand still, when the promises you've held in your heart feel delayed and every door appears closed. But what if I told you that in those silent stretches of time, everything is still working out perfectly, precisely, divinely, in your favor? You see, what we call delay is often divine choreography. Life is not punishing you, it is positioning you. Every seeming setback, every unanswered prayer is not rejection, it is redirection. The unseen hand of God is arranging circumstances, moving people, and aligning opportunities in a way that your physical eyes cannot yet perceive. Trust the silence, trust the stillness, trust the timing. When you learn to rest in faith, you stop wrestling with when and start dwelling in it is done. You no longer beg the universe to move. You realize it already has. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the instant you dare to believe, something shifted in the unseen realm. Time itself began to conspire for your favor. You may not see it yet, but beneath the surface, roots are forming. The dream you planted in faith is alive. Every challenge, every delay, every disappointment is nourishing that seed. The soil of patience is where miracles grow. There will come a day, and it may not look like today, when everything will suddenly make sense. The closed doors will reveal their protection. The lost opportunities will unveil their purpose. And you'll see that what looked like waiting was actually preparation. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are right on schedule with divine timing. So hold the vision even when you see nothing. Speak the promise even when the evidence says otherwise. Stay faithful in the unseen, because what you have imagined in faith is already finding its way into form. Every delay has a divine reason, and every season has its appointed time. What belongs to you cannot be lost. What's meant for you will not pass you by. Don't give up before the breakthrough. The moment you're tempted to quit is often the moment just before everything shifts in your favor. Breathe, believe, and be still. For everything, yes, everything is working out in your favor. Trust God's timing. What we often perceive as delay is not a denial, but a divine orchestration moving in silence. The human mind, impatient by nature, measures progress by visible results, by the ticking of clocks and the movement of calendars. Yet, the divine realm operates beyond human time. It unfolds through alignment, preparation, and unseen coordination. What seems like nothing is happening is often the very moment when everything is being arranged with precision. When life slows down, when doors refuse to open, it is easy to think something has gone wrong. But delay is not disorder, it is order in disguise. The universe is never late, it is exact. Every event, every meeting, every outcome unfolds according to a rhythm that surpasses logic. You are not being punished by delay, you are being protected by it. For if the thing you long for arrived before you were ready, or before it was ready for you, what was meant to bless you could burden you instead. Divine timing ensures that both you and your desire mature at the same pace. There are invisible threads connecting your destiny to countless other lives, situations, and choices. While you wait, those threads are being woven together. The right people are being prepared. The right opportunities are forming. The right path is being cleared. You cannot see the pattern while it is being stitched, but when the tapestry of your life is revealed, you will understand why every pause had purpose. Sometimes delay is God's way of deepening your faith, stripping you of impatience, fear, and doubt, so that when your promise arrives, you receive it with strength, gratitude, and humility. The waiting season is secret. It refines the heart and clarifies intention. It teaches you to depend not on external progress, but on inner assurance. When you learn to rest in the knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly, you align with divine intelligence itself. You stop forcing, you stop fighting, and you start allowing. The truth is, delay is never wasted time. It is divine preparation disguised as stillness. The same way a seed is buried before it breaks through the soil, your manifestation hides beneath the surface, gathering strength. You do not dig up the soil to check if the seed is growing. You water it in faith, trusting that nature is doing her perfect work beneath the surface. So it is with your desires. What you have prayed for, imagined, and believed is germinating in the unseen. The divine order behind delays is not chaos, it is choreography. Every second of waiting is a step in a larger dance of timing and grace. And when the appointed hour comes, not a moment sooner, not a moment later, everything that once seemed withheld will appear suddenly, effortlessly, beautifully. Then you will realize that the delay was never against you, it was always for you. The path was being cleared, the timing perfected, and you were being prepared for the blessing that was already yours. Time, as we perceive it, is not as rigid as it appears. It bends and rearranges itself around the state of your consciousness. Every inner assumption, every feeling you consistently hold, quietly molds the events that unfold in your external world. What we call waiting is not about minutes and hours passing, it is about alignment. The moment your inner belief becomes one with your desire, time ceases to be an obstacle. The universe begins to reorganize itself to make what you have accepted within you a living reality. Your outer life is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the inner world you sustain. When you doubt, time delays. When you believe, time accelerates. You may think life is happening to you, but it is happening through you, responding faithfully to the vibration of your inner state. This is why two people can face the same situation and experience completely different outcomes. It is not the situation that determines the result, but the state of consciousness they occupy within it. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, you invite it into the present moment. In that instance, something powerful shifts in the unseen realm. The laws of time begin to bend to your conviction. Circumstances rearrange, opportunities appear, and people begin to move in patterns that lead you directly to the fulfillment of your inner assumption. It is not that you are forcing life to change, it is that your belief has changed, and therefore life must follow. You see, time only appears to move forward when we are disconnected from our desires. But in truth, all possibilities already exist. When you enter into the state of your fulfilled desire, when you feel it real and accept it as done, you align yourself with the version of reality where that desire is already accomplished. The world outside simply takes time to catch up to your inner knowing. What feels like waiting is just the unfolding of what has already been set in motion by your faith. It is not effort or struggle that bends time, it is certainty. When you know that what you desire is already yours, you release resistance, and in that release, divine speed takes over. Time compresses. Events that would have taken years can unfold in days, because you have entered into harmony with the frequency of your fulfilled state. You are no longer chasing your desire, you are magnetizing it. So if you find yourself waiting, do not fight the clock. Instead, shift your state. Close your eyes and feel the joy of already being the person who has what they seek. Let that feeling become so real, so natural, that it replaces every trace of doubt. When your inner belief and your outer desire are one, time itself becomes your servant. It bends, accelerates, and rearranges to bring you the proof of what you already know is true within. Reality always follows the conviction of your spirit. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is spiritual vision. It is the inner knowing that what you have imagined, hoped for, and believed in already exists, even when the outer world shows no evidence of it. True faith is not waiting to see before believing. It is believing so deeply that seeing becomes inevitable. It is resting in the invisible, knowing that the unseen realm is already at work on your behalf. The visible world is only a shadow cast by the unseen. Everything that ever appeared began first as an invisible idea, a silent conviction, a seed of imagination, nurtured in the soil of faith. When you trust in that unseen realm, you align with the creative power that governs all existence. The moment you accept something as true within, it begins to take form without. The universe, in perfect obedience, mirrors the condition of your belief. But faith often demands surrender, a release of control, a quiet acceptance that you do not need to know how or when. The human mind seeks evidence, logic, and sequence, but faith speaks a different language. It whispers, "It is done," even when everything visible screams the opposite. This inner rest, this stillness amid uncertainty, is the highest form of power. For when you no longer depend on external proof, you become proof yourself, the embodiment of divine trust. The unseen world is always moving in your favor, arranging the pieces you cannot yet see. The delays, the detours, the disappointments are not signs of failure, they are signs of divine movement. Faith teaches you to interpret silence not as absence, but as activity. Just as a seed buried in darkness is not dead but growing, your prayer, your vision, your dream is germinating beneath the surface. You may not hear it, but the roots are forming. You may not see it, but the shape of your answer is taking form. To live by faith is to walk by inner conviction rather than outer condition. You no longer ask life to show you results before you believe. You become the evidence of what you believe. You hold the feeling of your answered prayer until the world has no choice but to reflect it. The invisible must become visible. When you refuse to let go of your assumption of fulfillment, faith is rest, not resignation, but divine assurance. It is the quiet confidence that everything needed is already in motion, even if you cannot trace its path. When you live from that place, anxiety loses its grip and doubt dissolves. The unseen becomes more real to you than the seen. And soon the invisible forces that have been moving on your behalf reveal their work in perfect timing. So trust what cannot be seen. Rest in the unseen reality. For the moment you believe it exists, it begins to move toward you. The invisible is not far away. It is within you, waiting to unfold through the power of your unwavering faith. There is a sacred rhythm to life, a divine order that governs every unfolding event. Nothing arrives too early, and nothing is withheld too long. Yet the human heart, in its longing and impatience, often wrestles with time, always asking, when will it happen? When will my dream come to pass? But divine timing is not bound by your clock. It operates through alignment, not anxiety. When you release your anxious grasp on when, you open the way for the perfect how to be revealed. Anxious waiting creates resistance. It tells the universe that you do not yet trust the process. It focuses on lack, on absence, on the feeling that something is missing. But divine timing flows through surrender, through the quiet confidence that everything you desire is already on its way, unfolding at the exact pace needed for your highest good. When you let go of the question of when, you move into harmony with divine intelligence. You stop pushing against life and begin flowing with it. Every manifestation is a meeting between readiness and right timing. Sometimes the delay is not about the dream, but about your development. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, withholds certain outcomes until you have become the person capable of carrying them. The waiting period refines you, strengthens your faith, and deepens your understanding. What feels like stagnation is often sacred preparation. You are being expanded to hold the blessing that is coming. When you release your need to control the timing, you make space for miracles. The perfect sequence of events begins to unfold effortlessly. People appear, opportunities align, and paths open that logic could never have planned. Divine timing does not operate through struggle. It operates through synchronicity. It is the gentle orchestration of countless moving parts converging in one perfect moment. And that moment always comes right on time. Trust that what is meant for you is already on its way, guided by a hand far wiser than your own. You do not have to chase it or force it into being. You only need to remain faithful to the vision, grateful in the waiting and peaceful in the process. Every unanswered question, every seeming delay carries hidden wisdom. Life is not withholding your desire. It is aligning you with it in the most graceful way possible. There comes a day when you will look back and see how every delay served you. You will understand that what you call waiting was actually divine choreography, arranging the details for a perfect arrival. The timing you once questioned will reveal itself as flawless. And so be still, breathe, release your grasp on when, and rest in the knowing that divine timing has never failed. The perfect how is already unfolding in ways beyond your imagination. What belongs to you will arrive effortlessly in the moment you are ready to receive it, and not a second before, nor a second too late. Stillness is often misunderstood as doing nothing, as idleness or passivity. But true stillness is not the absence of action, it is the presence of alignment. It is the sacred posture of one who trusts the higher intelligence that governs all life. In stillness, you cease the restless striving of the mind and allow divine order to take the lead. You stop forcing outcomes and start cooperating with the unseen rhythm that already knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it perfectly. In the world of noise, movement, and urgency, stillness feels unnatural. We are taught that progress comes only through effort and activity, yet the greatest transformations often happen in silence, in the quiet spaces where your spirit becomes attuned to divine wisdom. When you are still, you step out of the turbulence of worry and into the flow of faith. You release the need to control every detail and rest in the knowing that everything is being handled by an intelligence far greater than your conscious mind. Stillness is divine cooperation. It is saying, I trust the process even when I can't see it. It is the silent act of faith that creates the perfect environment for miracles to unfold. In that sacred pause, the noise of fear quiets, the confusion clears, and the truth begins to speak. The higher order, that invisible intelligence moving through all creation, can only guide you when your inner world becomes still enough to hear it. Imagine a lake on a windy day. The waves are restless, the surface distorted, and the reflection unclear. But when the wind settles and the water becomes calm, the lake perfectly mirrors the sky. So it is with you. When your mind is agitated, you cannot see divine guidance clearly. But when you become still, your soul reflects heaven's wisdom. Answers rise effortlessly. Direction appears naturally. The next step reveals itself without struggle. Stillness does not mean passivity, it means inspired action. Action born not from panic or pressure, but from peace. When you act from stillness, every movement carries power, precision, and grace. You stop reacting to circumstances and start creating from a place of calm authority. This is how the invisible becomes visible, not through frantic effort, but through quiet alignment. The power of stillness lies in its ability to connect you with what already knows. The higher order that breathes the stars into existence also guides your steps. It does not need your worry to work. It needs your willingness to be still. So pause, breathe, let the noise within you settle. Trust that while you rest in stillness, the unseen world is moving with perfect accuracy on your behalf. In the silence, creation is speaking. In the calm, the path is clearing. Stillness is not inactivity. It is sacred cooperation with divine ardor, where your soul and the universe move as one. There is a moment in every journey when the promise seems silent, when all your effort feels unrewarded, and the vision you've held begins to fade under the weight of delay. This is the most dangerous moment, the season of gestation, where many give up, not realizing that the breakthrough is forming just beneath the surface. Like a seed buried in the dark, your manifestation is alive, growing, and reaching upward even when you cannot see a single sign of movement. Every dream requires a hidden season. Just as nature takes time to mature a seed before it breaks through the soil, life takes time to prepare your desire for full expression. The waiting season is not punishment, it is process. It is where strength, patience, and faith are built. What looks like stillness is actually sacred activity, roots spreading, foundations forming, timing aligning. But because the work is invisible, it is easy to assume nothing is happening and give up too soon. The universe is faithful to those who persist beyond appearances. The soil of delay is never empty. It holds the unseen promise of everything you have imagined in faith. Yet, impatience blinds us to this truth. When we look for quick evidence and find none, we begin to doubt. But remember, the darker the soil, the deeper the growth. The silence you fear is often the very space where the miracle is being arranged. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. He trusts the process. He waters, waits, and believes that nature will do her perfect work. So too must you trust the invisible. Your job is not to force the bloom, but to nurture your faith until it appears. Every time you choose belief over fear, every time you give thanks instead of giving up, you are watering your dream. Many quit just before their harvest. They walk away at the threshold, unaware that one more moment of faith would have opened the floodgates of manifestation. But the universe rewards the spirit that endures. The moment you refuse to surrender to doubt, the energy of persistence sends a powerful signal, a declaration that you are ready to receive. So when nothing seems to be happening, stay the course. When the night feels endless, keep believing. The gestation season is not the end. It is the sacred pause before creation becomes visible. You may not see the flower yet, but life within the seed is unstoppable. Do not abandon your dream in the silence. Do not lose heart when your prayer echoes back unanswered. Something magnificent is forming in the unseen, the perfect bloom of what you have believed for. Stay faithful a little longer. The soil will break, the light will appear, and when it does, you will understand why waiting was never wasted. It was preparation for the beauty that was always destined to bloom. Everything in your life, every pause, every delay, every unseen moment is part of a divine orchestration working perfectly in your favor. What appears as stillness is not stagnation, it is sacred movement in the unseen. When you choose faith over fear, trust over timing, and stillness over struggle, you align yourself with the rhythm of divine order. Life is not against you, it is unfolding for you in ways far beyond your understanding. So do not give up. The dream you've carried in your heart is alive, even if you cannot yet see it. Trust that every step, every silence, every closed door is leading you closer to your appointed moment. Your breakthrough is not lost. It's simply aligning with perfect timing. Hold your faith. Keep believing. Everything is working out exactly as it should. Beautifully, divinely, and right on time. Thank you for watching, and remember, trust God's timing, because what's meant for you will never pass you by. There are moments in life when everything seems quiet, too quiet. You've prayed, you've believed, you've waited, and still nothing appears to move. But let me tell you, this silence is not the absence of God. It is the sound of divine construction. Behind what your eyes cannot see, heaven is arranging something far greater than what you've asked for. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour has been part of a higher orchestration. You were not being denied, you were being prepared. There's a reason this message has reached you right now. Because your season is shifting. You are standing at the edge of a divine turning point. Do not be fooled by appearances. The visible world is the slowest form of manifestation. Everything begins within, in the unseen realm of imagination and faith. When you close your eyes and feel the reality of your desire, you are touching the substance of what is to come. The invisible responds to your conviction. It listens not to your words, but to your inner knowing, right now as you hold on. Even with trembling faith, something is being aligned for your favor. The very thing that looked lost is being restored in a higher form. The people who walked away were never meant to carry the weight of your blessing. The doors that closed were not rejection. They were divine redirection toward the promise meant for you. God has not forgotten you. In fact, you are closer than you think. When the night feels longest, the dawn is already forming. That heaviness in your spirit is not defeat. It's the birth pangs of destiny. The old chapter is ending because a new one is written and waiting for you to enter it. You don't have to strive anymore. You simply have to align, to rest in the knowing that what is yours cannot be taken, delayed, or destroyed. The universe bends to the faith of one who dares to believe, even when all evidence says otherwise. So lift your eyes again, feel the shift inside your heart, speak the promise as though it has already come to pass, give thanks for what you cannot yet touch, for gratitude is the proof of faith. If you're seeing this right now, it is not coincidence, it's confirmation. You are being called to hold your faith firm just a little longer. The breakthrough you've been praying for is already in motion. God is about to do something big, something that will make sense of every tear, every waiting season, and every silent night. Don't give up. You are not at the end. You are standing on the threshold of divine fulfillment. Stay still, stay believing, and watch what happens next. When weariness sets in, when the soul feels heavy and the road ahead looks endless, it's easy to believe that something has gone wrong, that maybe your prayers have lost their power or your vision has run dry. But that deep exhaustion you're feeling is not a sign of defeat. It's often the quiet whisper of transformation. It is the soul's way of telling you that a major shift is near. The weariness that comes before breakthrough is not the fatigue of failure. It's the labor before birth. Every time you grow tired of waiting, something within you is expanding. You are outgrowing the old patterns, the old limitations, and even the old version of yourself that once felt safe. The discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. When the seed pushes against the soil, it must break through the darkness before it sees the light. So when your spirit feels pressed, when your patience feels stretched thin, it is only because you are being ushered into a new dimension of being. God allows this inner tension not to destroy you, but to awaken you. You cannot enter the next level with the same mindset that belonged to the old season. So the weariness comes to strip away false identities, to remove dependency on appearances, and to remind you that strength is born in surrender. When everything in you wants to quit, that is the sacred moment when the old is dissolving and the new is forming. The unseen is rearranging itself to match the vision you've been holding. Sometimes your spirit grows tired, not because you're weak, but because you've carried the unseen weight of transition. You've been believing for something that has not yet materialized, and that invisible work can be exhausting. But know this: every tear, every silent prayer, every night of doubt has been building the inner foundation for your new reality. The moment you feel you can't go on is often the very moment the shift begins. That inner fatigue is your signpost, heaven's quiet signal that the old cycle is complete. Instead of resisting the weariness, honor it. Rest in the knowing that something is breaking open for your good. The mind may say nothing is happening, but the spirit knows better. The stillness you feel is not emptiness, it's divine movement in disguise. You are being reshaped from within. The vision you've held is taking form in the unseen, and soon the outer world will catch up to the inner transformation that's already complete. So if you feel tired, don't curse the process. Let it be a sign that you are closer than ever to manifestation. The fatigue is proof that you have stayed the course, that you have believed through silence and delay something great is near, not because of what you see, but because of what you've become. The weariness is not your end, it is the trembling before the dawn. The shift you've been praying for is already unfolding within you, preparing to appear without. Everything that exists in your outer world first began as an unseen image in someone's inner world. Imagination is not a mere daydream. It is the womb of reality, the silent workshop of creation where all miracles are conceived. Every structure, every breakthrough, every answered prayer is born from the invisible realm of thought and feeling. What you consistently see and feel within becomes the law that governs what unfolds around you. The mistake many make is believing that reality is fixed, that what the eye sees is all there is. But the truth is far deeper. The outer world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the dominant images and emotions held within the mind. When you imagine with conviction, not as wishful thinking, but as a felt reality, you impress that vision upon the unseen substance from which all form arises. The universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match the picture you hold in faith. Think of your imagination as divine soil. Whatever seed of thought you plant within it will grow, whether it be faith or fear, abundance or lack, healing or despair. The soil does not discriminate. It simply produces according to what is sown. So the question becomes, what are you planting? Are you rehearsing doubt, or are you envisioning the fulfillment of your desire with gratitude and certainty? Every mental picture, repeated with emotion, becomes a command to creation itself. When you live from your imagination rather than your senses, you begin to transcend circumstance. You are no longer limited by what is visible because you understand that the visible is temporary, but the unseen is eternal. The moment you feel the joy of having what you desire, even before it appears, you call that reality into being. Feeling is the language of creation. The stronger your inner conviction, the faster the outer world bends to reflect it. Miracles are not interruptions of natural law. They are expressions of higher law, the law of faith, which says, as within, so without. When your inner vision becomes unwavering, your world cannot help but conform. Even the impossible becomes possible, because imagination bridges the gap between where you are and where you wish to be. You don't have to force it or chase it. You simply become it in consciousness, and the outer will follow. So close your eyes for a moment. See yourself already standing in the life you desire. Feel it, not as hope, but as certainty. Walk through it in your mind until it feels more real than your present surroundings, that inner scene. When felt with deep conviction, becomes your unseen command to creation. In time, reality will mirror what you have seen within yourself all along. Imagination is the seed of every miracle. Plant it with faith, water it with feeling, and watch your world transform into the reflection of your inner belief. There are seasons in life when it seems as though heaven has gone silent, when your prayers echo back to you and every door you knock on remains closed. It is in these moments that doubt creeps in, whispering that maybe you were forgotten, or perhaps what you hoped for wasn't meant to be. But in truth, what looks like delay is never denial. It is divine preparation. The unseen hand of God is arranging every detail, aligning every element, and shaping you into the person capable of carrying what you've asked for. Delay is not wasted time, it is sacred timing. You are being refined in the waiting, stretched in patience, deepened in faith, and strengthened in character. The dream that comes too soon can crush the one who isn't ready for its weight. So God, in infinite wisdom, holds certain blessings back until your heart and circumstances can sustain them. He is not punishing you with delay. He is protecting you with preparation. When nothing seems to be happening, much is happening beneath the surface. Just as a seed takes root in darkness before breaking through the soil, your answered prayer is developing in the unseen realm. The roots of your faith are growing deep, so that when your miracle appears, it will stand firm. You cannot rush divine timing because it is not about the clock. It's about alignment. God's plan unfolds in patterns, not panic. Every moment of waiting has meaning, even when it doesn't make sense. Often, the delay reveals what still needs to be released, the old fears, limiting beliefs, and attachments that cannot enter the next season with you. The waiting tests the authenticity of your desire and purifies your motives. If you can remain faithful in the quiet, you prove that your faith is rooted not in outcomes, but in trust. That is the posture that invites miracles. Unwavering belief in the unseen goodness of God, even when all evidence says otherwise. Even when everything says otherwise, you are not being punished by the wait, you are being positioned by it. Every delay carries divine intelligence. The right people are being prepared, the right opportunities are being shaped, and the right timing is being perfected. When it finally comes together, you will realize that nothing was random. Every pause had purpose. The delay was the bridge that carried you from desire to fulfillment. So rest in the knowing that divine timing is flawless. You are not late. You are right on schedule, according to heaven's rhythm. Keep your vision alive in the waiting, not by striving, but by trusting. The manifestation is already in motion, even if your senses cannot perceive it yet. What feels like stillness is actually movement on a higher plane. The pattern of delay is not withholding. It is the divine choreography that ensures your miracle arrives complete, mature, and perfectly timed. Faith is not hope dressed in polite words. It is a quiet certainty that what you have believed is already accomplished, even when every visible sign says otherwise. It is the unwavering conviction that the unseen is more real than the seen, that the promise is fulfilled the moment it is accepted within. True faith does not beg, it rests. It does not strain for proof, it knows. It is not a desperate reaching, but a serene awareness that the thing desired is already yours in the invisible realm. To walk by faith is to live from the end, to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire as though it were already fact. This is the great secret of manifestation, to feel now what you wish to experience later. The world may tell you to wait and see, but faith reverses that law and declares, see, and you will wait no longer. Faith moves first, evidence follows. When you truly believe, you stop searching for signs, because belief itself is the sign. The inner conviction is the proof of things not seen. There is a power in quiet confidence, a strength in still assurance. Faith doesn't fight against appearances, it transcends them. It does not deny what the senses perceive, but knows that what is seen is temporary, while what is unseen is eternal. The circumstances around you may contradict your vision, but faith sees beyond contradiction. It holds the outcome so firmly within that the outer world must eventually conform to it. When you rest in faith, you shift from effort to embodiment. You stop trying to make things happen and begin living as if they already have. You no longer speak from lack or longing, but from gratitude and possession. This inner alignment creates a magnetic pull between your unseen belief and its visible manifestation. The law of life is simple. Whatever you accept as true within yourself becomes true in your experience. Many grow weary because they confuse faith with waiting. Faith is not waiting for something to come. It is the awareness that it already is. When you truly believe, time loses its grip on you. You may not see it yet, but you know that in the unseen dimension it is finished. That knowing is what moves mountains, heals hearts, and changes destinies. The outer world always bends to the strength of inner conviction. So when doubt tries to whisper, but what if it doesn't happen? Answer with a calm assurance. It already has. Let that certainty be your resting place. Faith is not blind, it is visionary. It sees through the surface of things into the eternal substance behind them. To live in faith is to walk hand in hand with the unseen, trusting that what you hold in consciousness today will soon become what you hold in your hands tomorrow. Every struggle carries within it a sacred threshold, a point unseen by the natural eye, where the balance quietly shifts, and what once worked against you begins to move in your favor. This moment of breakthrough often comes disguised as exhaustion, discouragement, or even despair. It arrives at the very instant when you feel you have nothing left to give, when your faith feels stretched to its final thread. Yet, in that unseen realm, divine forces are already at work, rearranging circumstances to fulfill the vision you held within. Breakthrough rarely announces itself. It doesn't come with thunder or applause. It comes in stillness. It is born in those moments when you choose to believe one more time, to stand firm when everything in you wants to surrender. Every great turning point in life begins with that inner decision to persist in faith, to hold the image of victory even when defeat appears inevitable. The unseen begins to respond the moment you refuse to give up. There is a law in the spiritual dimension. Nothing truly believed goes unanswered. Every act of faith creates an invisible ripple that gathers momentum until it manifests. So when you pray, when you imagine, when you persist despite appearances, you are setting divine motion into play. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, the silence often means that everything is happening, just beyond the veil of sight. Think of a seed planted deep in the earth. Long before the first sprout breaks through the soil, an explosion of life occurs underground. Roots stretch downward unseen, drawing nourishment and strength. If the seed could see only darkness, it might think nothing is happening. Yet that hidden process is the most important part of growth. The same is true for your life. Your roots are expanding beneath the surface, preparing you to rise. When breakthrough draws near, resistance often intensifies. The pressure you feel is not the sign of defeat, but the final contraction before birth. Many give up just moments before the shift occurs because they mistake the final struggle for failure. But the darkness that surrounds you now is not an ending. It is the veil that separates you from your answered prayer. Once you push through it, what was once unseen becomes undeniable. Every struggle you've endured has been building the strength, clarity, and faith necessary to sustain your blessing. The pain was not wasted. It was part of the divine calibration preparing your life for alignment. When the invisible tipping point is reached, everything changes. Suddenly, easily, effortlessly. What took years to build appears overnight. No, that is the nature of breakthrough. It seems sudden, but it is the result of every unseen moment of belief, every prayer whispered in faith, and every tear sown in trust. Hold steady, your unseen is moving, and your breakthrough is closer than you think. There is an unshakable truth woven into the fabric of existence. What God begins, He always completes. No promise spoken into your spirit will ever return void. Even when you cannot see it, even when the path feels uncertain and the waiting seems endless, the fulfillment of that divine word is in motion. God is not a man that He should lie, nor does He abandon what He plants. Every promise carries its own appointed time. And when that time ripens, nothing on earth or in heaven can prevent its manifestation. The journey between promise and fulfillment is where most lose heart. It is the space where faith is tested and patience is perfected. You may wonder why it takes so long, why the vision burns within you yet remains unseen. But the delay is never a sign of denial. It is the process of preparation. God is aligning everything, not just circumstances, but you. He is shaping your heart, refining your character, and fortifying your faith so that when the promise appears, you can sustain it. When God plants a promise within you, it becomes a living seed. That seed contains everything needed for its own fulfillment: the design, the timing, and the power to grow. But it must be nurtured by your faith. You water it with your words, protect it with your thoughts, and feed it with your imagination. The outer world may contradict it, but the promise remains true. The unseen world is more real than what your eyes can perceive, and when you persist in faith, the invisible begins to crystallize into form. There comes a moment when faith matures into knowing, when you no longer question if it will happen, because you feel that it already has. That quiet certainty becomes the magnet that draws the unseen into visibility. You no longer chase the promise, you become it. This is the mystery of divine manifestation, that what you hold in consciousness as true must eventually express itself in your world. God works through your belief, through your inner acceptance, through your willingness to see beyond appearances. So when weariness comes, remember, you are not waiting for God to act. God is waiting for you to believe completely. The fulfillment is already written. The end is secure. The very longing you feel is the sign that the promise is alive within you and nearing its manifestation. What began as an inner whisper will one day stand before you in full form, undeniable and complete. Do not let temporary silence make you doubt eternal truth. The same power that began this journey within you will bring it to completion. Stay faithful, stay expectant, stay aligned. The unseen is gathering itself to reveal what has always been yours. God finishes what he starts always. When your faith holds steady, the invisible becomes visible, and the promise that once felt distant becomes your living reality. Every waiting season, every unseen battle, and every silent night has been leading you to this very moment. Nothing has been wasted. Not the pain, not the process, not the time. God has been working behind the curtain of your life, arranging the pieces, preparing the path, and strengthening your spirit. What once felt like delay was divine design. What once felt like loss was preparation for something greater. You are standing on the threshold of a divine unfolding. The shift is already happening, not someday, but now. The inner signals of change, the quiet stirrings in your heart are not imagination, they are confirmation. The unseen is moving, the promise is maturing, and the miracle is forming. Keep believing, keep feeling, keep standing in faith. You don't have to see it to know it's done. Just rest in the certainty that God always finishes what he starts. The weariness you felt is turning into strength, the delay into divine timing, and the waiting into fulfillment. The same power that began this good work within you is bringing it to completion. Your breakthrough is not coming, it's already on its way to becoming visible. So lift your head, quiet your heart, and prepare to receive. What God is about to do in your life will be bigger, better, and more beautiful than you could ever imagine. The unseen has already shifted, and soon your world will reflect it. Thank you for watching. May this message awaken your faith, strengthen your spirit, and remind you that the promise still stands and your moment is near. Keep believing, because your miracle is already in motion.